You're listening to the Known Legacy Podcast, brought to you by Known Legacy Ministries. For more information, go to knownlegacy.org. Now here's your hosts, Bill and Travis.
Bill. You've been into the coffee thing. I've seen a lot of your shorts lately online, and there's a coffee theme that's going on. Do you love the coffee?
I am a tad caffeinated in my love. You know, there's things people that say, keep away your idols, and I'm like, I'm not in love. Maybe I'm not in love with it, but I definitely like it. There's a few things I really like. Jesus, coffee, my wife.
Yes.
My kids are, 80%.
I gotcha.
I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
Hey, good morning. We're so glad to have you guys here. Travis, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Man, thanks for checking out the podcast, Known Legacy. Find out more information. We are on the YouTubes. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. If you like it, share it. Give us a review. That's always helpful to the algorithm.
Always helpful.
Gods and whatever they determine is worthy of being shared.
Which I think those algorithm gods now are just called AI. But I don't know if that's true or not.
Yes,
but
yes, the false prophet.
That's why I watch the Terminator movies, just to be prepared for now.
Very true, very true. So anyways, and info at knownlegacy.org. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can check out Bill's book, the audio version, as well as the hard version, if you're so inclined, online there. And More Than You, it's fantastic. It's still some available if you're interested. And if you have not yet, we do have a big retreat coming up in April.
Men's retreat!
Men's retreat.
It's going to be so good.
If you have not signed up, I think some of the stats that I've been seeing, first and foremost, we have more signed up already than we've had to any of our other retreats.
Getting there.
There is
definitely from the first one.
There is some rooms still available,
yes,
and some individual rooms. If you're a snorer, the rest of us say thank you for getting an individual room. And any questions or comments? If you need a scholarship, reach out, info at knownlegacy.org. We don't want money to keep you from having this amazing moment with some brothers and with Jesus Christ himself, and so that's good stuff. So, gentlemen, Kyle, how you doing today?
Great, thank you.
Excellent.
I'm super excited today. We have a great guest coming on in just a second. And so can't wait for that. But I know that we have something before that.
We do have the question of the day.
Question of the day.
I've heard through the grapevine that that's some people's favorite part of the entire podcast.
Should we do it again?
Yeah, I think we should, just for one more time. Okay. Hey, today, big question of the day.
Question of the day.
Yeah.
You added it, yes.
Yeah, that's good.
Anyways, let's get to the stinking question, okay?
All right, so National Championship football was this past Monday. My wife and I stayed up and we watched the whole thing. It was a fantastic game. It was a great game. It was a great game. And if you don't know, Indiana, who was like the losingest program in college football for generations, right? They were the worst of the worst. They were one of the founding schools of the Big Ten, as long as the Big Ten's been around, and they were absolutely trash canned forever. And in 2 years, they turned the program around, go undefeated this year, and win in spectacular version with a 2-star quarterback. And everyone is claiming this may be one of the greatest sports stories.
Like David and Goliath.
Yeah, like great sports stories. You know, great American sports stories of all time. So I thought, let's have this conversation.
Okay.
What would you say is the best or the greatest sports movie of all time, and why is it Remember the Titans? Why is it Remember the Titans?
Kyle, do you want to go first and answer this question, my friend?
I'm going to do one that probably nobody listening knows, but it's called Brian's Song.
I've heard Brian's Song.
So basically, it's a true story about Brian Piccolo. It has Gale Sayers in it, Chicago Bears, and Brian gets cancer.
Yes.
And it's the story of the multiple things. It came out in 1971, and so it happened in the 60s. But, you know, the friendship between these two.
Yes,
being different races and being best friends, and at the time was
such a turbulent time, for sure.
So that's mine.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a deep dive there. I'm kind of impressed, Kyle.
That was.
Yeah, I'm kind of impressed. Bill, how about you? What's yours? You're probably going to say Rudy.
I am going to say Rudy. Rudy is one of the greatest movies in the world.
I've never seen it.
Are you kidding me?
I've never seen the whole thing.
What is wrong with both of you?
I hate Notre Dame.
Oh my gosh. You need to move on. I'm looking for a new producer and podcast co-host.
Info at knownlegacy.org. You can submit your resumes.
Once every couple weeks, we end up firing one of us. It's kind of interesting.
But then we keep getting the text messages, hey, we're recording tomorrow.
Show up. I love that movie because I feel like it's like he's the underdog. Like he's five. I love there's a part in there where like the groundsman goes, you're 5'0" 100-0, and you face some of the toughest guys in football, and it's kind of what it is. Like
Right.
he was like a walk-on that didn't really have, and now the movie's probably dramatized a little more, but he's a walk-on, all that kind of stuff, and ended up at the end of the movie like sacking the quarterback in his second play ever as a Notre Dame student because the coach didn't want him, and I don't know if that's true.
I was gonna say,
I don't know if it's true. I got to look it up.
A little bit
but
you know.
But the thing is, he was the only player since like 78 or 76 that was carried off the field. So something big happened here with this guy.
Yeah. Gotcha,
but anyway,
gotcha.
Great movie. What about you? What about you?
Oh, just Remember the Titans. It's fantastic.
Great
the whole
movie.
thing, again, the racial divide and the tensions that are going on and how this character of the coach was put into a no-win situation, and yet he challenged guys
Coach Boone.
to go further and be better than what they were or their parents were. And just all of it it's fantastic. It's completely sensationalizalized, and it has great music. Sunshine shows up. And
Sunshine.
You know,
I remember.
And you know some of the great songs.
It's a good movie.
It's a good
movie.
Yeah,
good
great.
movie.
And I will say, with the Olympics just around the corner,
Yep.
Honorable mention for me is Miracle. I think Miracle is
Good
again one of
movie.
those. So, and some of the speeches that he gives, Kurt Russell. Some of the speeches he gives, again, I don't know if they're real or not, if they're transcripts or whatever, but the way he delivers them, you're just like, okay, coach,
So
put me in.
good.
I've never skated in
I've
my
never
life, but I will score a goal for you, man.
I will wear socks on the ice for you, my friend.
Again.
Oh man,
I can see me out there with just my nice knee-high socks with the red, white, and blue
Flopping on the ground.
stripes on them. Just, I got it, coach.
Oh man! Well, hey, we are so glad that you lasted this long through our question of the day. In fact, we want to introduce to you David Smallbone, who needs really no introduction, but is the father of the Men for King and Country, Rebecca St. James.
Yes.
But man, also has Smallbone Entertainment, correct? And is involved there. But man, very, very active in music. We just had a movie come out a couple years ago called Unsung Hero.
Yeah.
Who was really based on his wife. But even as I watched that movie as well, it was like, you just see the character of a man. And so one of the reasons I wanted to get David on. David, thank you so much for being on today. One of the reasons we wanted to have him on.
Guys.
We love it. Is what I've seen him produce in his children, and the idea that just character and quality. I didn't share this story before, but your sons, we were at a For King Country concert. Me and Travis used to MC those events too. I didn't even tell you that, but your sons actually, I called my brother in New York, and I gave them the phone, and Joel goes, "Hey man, why aren't you here?" And my brother was dumbfounded, did not know what to do with himself. He was like, "Is that Joel?" Like he just didn't even know what to do. So, anyways, I loved how they minister to people.
Yes,
and do music. It's good.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, David. We're so glad to have you on.
Well, I just love the way you guys are so comfortable with each other. You know, you hide Kyle away for whatever reason. Are you a bit worried that he's going to come and take
He's
your
the best
job?
looking guy. We can't have him on camera too long. He'll steal all the looks.
But you guys wanting to point men to Jesus like that, that encourages me. So thank you for your faithfulness.
Amen. Thank you for that encouragement. So please, if you share some of your story with us. I mean, for those who may not know you, please share some of your story.
Well, I started in music when I was 16. I'm now 76, so I've been doing it for 60 years. I did mainstream music in Australia, and then I wanted to do something purposeful, started to work in Christian music, and then 36 years ago, lost everything. And I went to Helen and I said, "Babe, I think the only way we can get ahead is go to America." And she said, "We'll go for 2 years." And 34 years later, we're still here. And
wow.
I came over to work for somebody here in America, and he let me go after 2 months. And so we lived in poverty for 2 years and saw the hands and feet of Jesus. And I was given a gift. The kids saw the miraculous. And it's almost like now I feel it should be part of the apprenticeship that every man goes through because it moved me from lukewarm to passionate as far as my faith perspective. And so glad I went through it. I'm not sure I want to go through it again at 15, but
That's a fair call.
It made my marriage stronger. The kids saw the miraculous. A lot of times, parents do such a good job of looking after the kids that there's no room for Jesus to move.
Yes.
We gave Jesus that opportunity.
So my question is, I would love to dive into that season of, I would call it the desert season,
Yeah,
right? Where
yeah.
all of a sudden everything that you could find comfort or find rescue from is taken away from you.
Yep.
And for some guys, and I love the fact that that's an apprenticeship from God, absolutely.
yeah.
And for some, that stirs a deep, hot faith for the Lord. A conviction that will never be shaken. But for others, it's brokenness, and they just will never recover from it. I would love to know from you, from your own experience, as guys might be walking or soon to be walking through that very experience of their own life and their own family, what was it that allowed you to deepen and strengthen the faith rather than reject or be broken by that season?
Probably two things. My wife loved me when I was broken, and then we would pray. We would pray as a family, and the kids we'd get all the kids around the room, and we'd pray for whatever we needed. And most weeks we didn't know if we were going to have enough food, how we're going to pay the rent. But we just saw miracle after miracle after miracle for 2 years. So I'd say, my encouragement, if you're going through hard times, go deeper with your beloved. And that probably means praying together every day.
Oh, yeah.
But also, as a family, we shared everything with the kids. They knew everything that was going on. And I think in hindsight, that was a good moment, because a lot of times kids never see the miraculous because mom and dad do such a good job in taking care of it. But in a funny kind of way, I can't explain it. The whole experience, 2 years in the wilderness, couldn't get arrested by the industry. It took me deeper. And my problem was I'd had a wonderful life, wonderful wife, wonderful parents. I'd been allowed to do all the things I wanted to do in the entertainment industry, and then it was taken away. And I think it happened for me, for the Lord to get my attention.
Interesting.
We this is not on the script. We don't have a script, but anyways,
There's a script?
I'm always fascinated with guys and the fact that you're 76, so you have a long, and I'm sure there's grandkids and everything else. So you have invested in your kids, and they saw that firsthand, and they were invited into that process. But now they've experienced copious amounts of success, from King and Countries to Rebecca St. James.
Yeah.
Kind of the pinnacle in the music industry, and all of that. And no doubt there's struggles and there's things. How do you give them that kind of wilderness experience for their grandkids, so that they don't repeat sometimes the follies of the great-great-grandparents that you see throughout scriptures, where someone will have this amazing moment, them and their kids will be locked in, but then the grandkids will start to wander, and then the great-grandkids, they're rejecting it and everything. So give some thoughts on that for grandkids.
I think for parents, and as this podcast is for men, I think it's really important not to spoil your kids, but I do think a lot of parents these days, where both mum and dad work, they think, we've got to, when we get home, we've got to do everything for the kids. I'm not sure that's healthy. What we do in our family, we take the kids on the road. So the grandkids come on the road. So on this last tour, Christmas tour we just did last month, 2 of the grandkids were out. They were running cameras. And
that's awesome.
And so every night before the show starts, we will share 3 or 4 comments from people who've been touched by the boys' ministry, and then we'll do a devotional. Lately, we've been sharing a devotional from Tim Keller, who, as you know, is very real. And then the local pastor or someone in the band will pray. But and I honestly look, what's my perspective at 16? It's to have a Jesus perspective on every question. What is a Jesus answer to this commercial question? And so I think my role, and I would encourage all the men listening, your role with your families is to look for the Jesus answer on every question. Sometimes I think what we do, we're in church on Sunday, but it doesn't always impact behavior on Monday. And and what I love about the Jesus way, it's the long-term way. You look at the way of the culture, it's short-term because we're controlled by the corporations. We got to get profit next quarter.
Yeah.
And that even impacts Christian music because we're owned by a couple of the really big corporations.
Yeah.
And we don't look at we are not looking for the long-term answer. The long-term answer is Jesus. And what I say to anyone who's prepared to listen, hey, without Jesus, it's a life half lived. With Jesus, it's a full life. And I'm prepared. My wife is pretty interesting because she calls a spade, and when I'm a bit off track, she lets me know.
Yes.
And I appreciate that. On the day, not so much, but the next day, I realize it's a love language. But in sharing this, incredible message, she makes a comment. David can get to talking to a non-Christian person about Jesus in a couple of minutes, and I don't know how I do that. And there'll be people I haven't met before, but it comes out of the overflow, and I think comes out of probably for the first half of my life, I was lukewarm. I was in Christian music business for a good part of that. I wasn't in the ministry, and then we lose everything. I see the hands and feet of Jesus, and it changed me, and I'm so glad that you guys and Kyle, you're involved in something very purposeful. You've gladdened my heart today by wanting to love on men and communicate this incredible, powerful, and wonderful message.
Love it.
I love it. First thing, I feel like we could talk to you all day, which is we can just do that. We'll just stay here till about midnight if that's okay with you. But no, David, practically, I think about these guys. Anywhere from 50 to 70, and they really want to make a jump. And I love that you're saying 76, and you're not done yet.
Yes.
And I love this heart. What is some practical encouragement you would give to these guys? Like, hey, I'm not on the right path. I want to make some changes, but I don't even know where to start. What's some advice if you had them sitting in front of you over a cup of coffee? What would you say to them?
That's good.
Two things. Find accountability partners.
Oh,
Took me a while to work that out. I've got about half a dozen guys that I do a lot of life with. One of the guys I just spoke to, who'd just been through a divorce 30 minutes ago before we got onto this, but he's strong about Jesus. So find half a dozen accountability guys, do life with them, try and meet with them. I was with a chiropractic guy yesterday who's helping me, and he had an addiction up till 8 years ago. And I said, well, what's your secret now in staying healthy? He says, I've got an accountability group of 8 guys, and I meet with them every week. And then the other, and I think that's important. And the other thing is that we started doing it when we first got married, 50 years ago. We'd pray together every night, and then I'd go to sleep. That offended Helen, so we stopped praying. We're still a praying family. She came to me at the beginning of 2020, just before COVID. And so we pray together every night, and guess who goes to sleep now? It's not the old bloke. It's my favorite Sheila. She goes to sleep, and I almost feel, I've accomplished something that in our prayers, she's so relaxed. So the two things, accountability and prayer.
I think
Love it. I love it.
And I want to double down and press into that pray with your spouse, because I think
Yeah.
we as men can pray for our spouses, right? And we can pray near or around our spouses.
Yeah.
But there's something different that happens in the heart of man and woman, one flesh, when we actually hold their hands,
Yeah.
looking at them, and we're praying with them. I was doing pre-marriage counseling, and I challenge couples all the time. I was like, gentlemen, before she leaves the house every morning, you need to pull her hands aside and pray for her and pray for her day.
Yeah.
And so they'll do it for like a month or two, and I'll ask the wives the impact it makes. And one of the wives said it so well. She goes, "It's the only time I see what's really going on in the heart of my husband." And I just thought that was such a powerful insight. And so I absolutely double down and say yes. And it's convicting me, because I've realized I've become very lazy with that with my wife.
Yeah.
And I need to reinvest in that, because it is truly the one thing that will sustain you regardless of the storm, the wilderness, or the desert that's coming, is an amazing wife that is first and foremost following the Lord.
Yeah.
And second, sees her role as supporting and filling the sails of your sails with the spirit that's in her.
You know, I love it. You know, the scripture says that with the mouth confession is made unto healing.
Yes.
And we look at that like that's just when we cast our sin. But there's something powerful when we audibly say, I'm praying this over my wife. I'm praying this over my family. And the enemy has no place anymore.
Right.
It's out in the open. That's where it's at. And I love that we shut up the enemy with those moments. And I
Right.
think that's the way, like, man, we can defeat it. So I'm loving this with
So,
you.
so David, 76 years old.
Can I just add one thing on
Yeah,
that?
please.
Please.
I think you know what it's like. Helen and I are on the same page on the big stuff, but occasionally little things get in the way. I'll forget to take the garbage out, or I've gone out and I'm out longer and I forget to call her and tell her where I am. But what I believe what the nightly praying together does is, if there's any tension between us, it lifts. After that 20 minutes of prayer together, it lifts, and we start the next day clean. And this, I realized this, it was probably a couple of years ago. I said to one of my buddies, I said, I don't believe it. You know, physically, the old bloke is slowing down, but I think I'm more in love than I can ever remember. And I'd probably at that time been married 48 years. And I thought about, after I said that to the guy, I was trying to work out, well, how did this happen? And I think it was the prayer, starting, that prayer, that commitment to praying together happened straight after my 70th birthday. And that's when she came to me at the beginning of the next year. And I think it's been very healthy for our marriage. So what happened last night, I prayed. And, we go through all our friends who have got health issues.
Yes.
And pray for all our kids. And any needs that we're aware of. And so she'll pray tonight. And buddy, I have to tell you, I think it's the gift that keeps on giving for us, because I'm shocked at just I can feel I'm almost about to cry, but I'm shocked at the loveliness of our marriage, where it's just really, really Helen and I at home, and we're still we're relatively busy. I help keep perspective with the King Country, and she runs a women's ministry, helps run a women's ministry called Mum Life. But she's very busy. There's a lot going on in her life, and just maintaining the house. And I haven't told you that we've got a couple of hundred animals, which she loves animals, and I don't complain about how expensive they are. And an interesting thing about one of my therapy points, when I was younger, I'd put the kids away at night. I'd pray with them, sing with them, and talk to them. And it was such good therapy. I went to her and I said, babe, can this continue? Can we have more? Because we'd both come from families of 4. and that's why we ended up having 7. And had we not had more than 4, there'd be no for King and Country. There'd just be for King. And for King by himself would be the piece of work. But he needs accountability from his brother.
Yes,
Now
he does.
I put away the ducks, geese, guinea, and chickens every night. It takes me about an hour, and that's my daily therapy. In that now, I've got the prayer later on that night, but there's suddenly in that hour of putting them all away, my mind goes into neutral. And I don't know what it means to men that don't live on a property, but it probably maybe means, doing something that you don't do for the rest of the day, because I honestly believe it's good therapy for me.
Well, and I think one of the challenges we have in our culture, I think, is guys look at retirement as I'm retiring from something. And they will often start to check out, and they will lose purpose because they're no longer involved or engaged or doing things that are engaging their mind, having those moments, those merry moments, right? To just be with Jesus and to sit down with your spouse and have a merry moment and just be with Jesus. How beautiful that is. And I think that's one of the keys that I'm seeing in you is like you're still in the game.
Yeah.
You're not in retirement. You're not sailing into the sunset. You're still in the game, and you're still like offering up your worship to say, God, whatever you would have for me today or tomorrow, let me be faithful with that. And it starts at home, being faithful with my wife and singing worship songs with my wife at night and just praying with my wife at night and taking care of the animals, your creation in a God-pleasing way. And the Spirit continues to move and stir and bring new life in and through you, which is, I think, a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it makes me want to ask a question. David, what does finishing well look like to you? What does finishing well look like to you?
Yeah, a good question. I think being faithful at home, and you know what life comes down to, it's the small things. We're all pretty good at the big things, and I'm trying to be more sensitive. Like just in recent years, I've started making the bed.
Yes,
that's awesome.
But I also think what I did in the first half of my life, I did a lot of business, and was reasonably successful, but I didn't. There was no overflow. I wasn't talking about Jesus. I've been given much. Wonderful wife, lots of kids, doing what I love doing. But I think now our responsibility is to help both work associates and friends and even people we might meet down at the coffee shop, finding ways of talking about Jesus. Because I think what I love about America, the battle between good and evil is still on. I go to Australia, the enemy has won. And this is an incredibly wonderful country. Why is that? Well, it's its Christian foundation. And I think, my challenge to all the men watching or listening is find a unique way of sharing Jesus with somebody maybe you don't even know today. And you know what? The best way to do that is telling your story. What happened in your life? Because they can come back and criticize you on a story you made up or a story that you didn't live. But when you've lived it, and if you've got work to do in your faith, well, commit to go deeper. Commit to be in that men's Bible study. Commit to be accountable. Commit to be in church every Sunday. I ran into a major industry guy at a function, at a funeral actually last week, and he's 2 years younger than me. And we used to go to the same church, and I said, "Oh, what church are you going to now?" And he's not going to church anymore. And he looks jaded and cynical. So what I'm doing in that situation, I spoke to a buddy of mine who was with me at the time. I spoke to him. He's a better friend of this guy than I am. We're going to get together with him and have coffee. And my hope is we will meet every month. And because I don't think you can grow in Jesus without the church. Because I think what the church does, you get community at church and you get good food. And so I'm cynical of the music business. I love the church. And I'm trying to bring the church into how we do music business. And I'm a flawed Jesus follower. I don't get it right all the time. And if you were to talk to people at my label, they would say, "Gee whiz, he's jolly loud. He asks a lot. He's pretty demanding." But I'm trying to do it in a Jesus. And we have, my sons and I, we have Aussie tenacity. We'll never give up. And
Yes.
remind me to mention to you before we get off, a documentary came out at the end of last year called No Turning Back. And it's on Amazon Prime. And it talks about the importance of persevering, never giving up. So to all the men, don't give up, guys.
Yes.
Man, I just wish there was some wisdom we heard today. I don't know. I'm just kidding. That was
hey,
amazing.
Pastor bloke, I think I'm going to leave. You're giving me hurt feelings. Here I am pouring out my life, and you're saying it's not good enough. That's what pastors do.
There it is. We've arrived. We've circled back around.
That Aussie tenacity has been
it.
crushed by the good-looking Bill over there.
The good-looking Bill.
Hey, I do have.
I love it.
I just want to put out there for if you are a guy and you are not connected to a church, I know that can be somewhat intimidating, and there's some charlatans, and there's some churches that are better and some that are not. I do want to plug real quick. Bill does do a Zoom or a online Bible study. And if you're not connected or doing a Bible study at all anywhere right now, man. info@knownlegacy.org. I'm going to plug it.
Yeah.
Let Bill know. He will get you tagged in,
Yes,
and it's a weekly Bible study, and it is fantastic. A few of my guys from my church actually go, and they love it. And so there's no excuse with technology to not carve out a little bit of time every day or every week to just be with some other brothers, whether it be in person, which is always ideal, or via text or via Zoom, to hear the word of God, be encouraged, and being challenged.
Yeah.
Hey, find something in your community that you can tag into and be light.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you for that, guys, because we want you to connect. You're not meant to do this alone.
No.
You do need an armor bearer who's going to come around.
Come alive.
Yeah.
Wake up, gear up, and come alive.
That's exactly it. David, before we go into the Fast Five, any final thoughts, man, that you'd like to share with those who are listening?
Yeah, I got an idea, and it took me a while to work this out. So I've been in town 34 years, and I realized 20 years ago that our industry, we're in show business more so than we're in the ministry. And I think that's one of the reasons we're not empowered. So I purposed in my mind that every meeting I took, I would read a devotional. And a lot of times it's either David Jeremiah or Tim Keller or someone like that. And what it does, I remember a meeting with probably the most aggressive attorney in town. He'd helped us on a For King Country deal years ago. He used to be Madonna's attorney and a really pretty tough guy. And I sit down with him to say thank you. And at the end of it, I share this devotional. I don't even remember what it was, but this tough dude melted in front of me. His whole demeanor changed. And the wonderful message of Jesus is still life-changing. And I think my challenge to you guys is find a way that you're comfortable with, because I do it every meeting. And it's pretty interesting, with people who don't have our values. I tell you what, it allows fascinating discussions with people who don't see the world like maybe I see them. But my encouragement to you as a Jesus follower, find a way of sharing him. And even if you say to yourself, well, I'm not that mature yet. Well, what it'll do, if you find a way of doing it, it'll help you go deeper. It'll help you mature, because you're going to have to do homework. And but I think most days I have joy in the journey, and I feel it happens because like Pastor Bloke and Travis and Kyle, we feel purposeful. And I think because a lot of people, what they do, they say, well, that's the pastor's responsibility. Okay, it is Bill's responsibility. We're holding you a high standard here, Bill. But we all have our responsibility, because my fear with the enemy alive and well in America at the moment, and the culture not being in a bad place, the enemy is coming after us. So my challenge out of that is we've got to be louder, and we need you guys to be louder, because you can get to places that Pastor Bill can't get to. Yes. And I think my encouragement to you is after, whenever you watch this podcast, use it as a reminder, okay, this next week, I've got to be louder about Jesus.
Man. That was good.
There's like 7 mic drops in this entire podcast.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to. This is amazing. This has been great,
David. Thank you so much,
David. Please hang on the line after we're done too. But I'd love to just chat for just a second. But man, this has been a blessing. Thank you so much for being on today. We're so excited. This was so good. This was so good. The wisdom. Guys, I hope that you take this as a major point of encouragement to keep moving forward, because we want to see you come alive to who God created you to be specifically, just like David said. Find the way to share the gospel.
Right.
And your story. No one can argue with your story.
Correct.
I love it. Love it. So, David, thank you so much. And before we finish, we have our Fast Five segment. There it is for you.
Well done,
so
producer.
cheesy.
Yeah, well, but yeah, Kyle's been killing it today. He's like, we're like a bunch of monkeys in here just running around, and he's like, guys, what are you doing? So
He's caffeinated. He's like you, Bill. He got caffeinated.
He did. I got saved and caffeinated all in the same year. It was a beautiful year. So, okay. So question number 1: if you could tell people to go support a cause or ministry, what would it be and why?
Our compassion. They love on the brokenhearted.
Yes.
All around the world. We've been working with them for 30 years.
Ah, that's awesome.
They're the real people. And the boys put out a music video a little while ago called World on Fire. And Compassion helped us put that together in the Dominican Republic. And the number of texts and emails we get from people saying, internationally, more so than ever in history, just thank you for filming that in the Dominican Republic, and thank you for having a international perspective. But our core principles with the King Country are loving on the brokenhearted and sharing the most wonderful message known to man to as many people as possible. And that's what Compassion do, and they have been faithful.
Yes.
They haven't got sidetracked. So we know them very well, done a lot of life with them. It's a beautiful ministry.
That's awesome. It's
Love
awesome. Compassion is an amazing ministry. Having a chance to work with them as well. So, if you could describe legacy with one word or phrase, what would it be?
One word is hard, but I think loving unconditionally. You guys know. And that's what happened to me when we came to town 34 years ago, got rejected by the industry, but the church loved on us unconditionally, not wanting anything back. Even talking to you now, a third of a century later, it blows my mind. And I think, guys, my marriage started to mature 10 years in when I started to love Helen unconditionally instead of conditionally. And that was a beautiful moment. And I think those 2 words, I know you only asked for one, but
you can have 2.
Giving poetic license here, guys. But loving unconditionally. I think if things are rocky at home, it's a good chance it's you, and you need to stop blaming her for everything and start taking responsibility yourself. And I think I say that because that happened to me 10 years ago, and I was put onto that by a book by Larry Crabb.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Inside Out it was called, and it had a chapter on unconditional love. And the artist that had put me onto that, I think had been told by the record label, get your life together or we're going to drop you. So he's reading it on a tour in Australia. And I thought, well, if this impacts this piece of work, it could impact me. And so I thought, well, I'd start reading that. And I did, and changed my life for the better. And I'd been blaming Helen for silly little things. Our marriage was good. It just wasn't great. And I realized it was almost like when I embraced that unconditional love principle, it was a Holy Spirit moment for me because I felt overnight the marriage went from good to great. And we didn't have major issues, But on the little issues, there were some things that we needed to work with, and I realized it was me.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's all of
That's
it.
great. That's great. I love it. Awesome. Okay, so number 3, if you had to change careers, what would you change it to?
Well, I think when I was younger, I always wanted to work in radio, and I went and did a radio course, and I worked at a mainstream pop radio station in Australia for a year or so, and then I had my own independent little radio program for a few years. It was only for an hour. It was on a community station in Sydney. But I think I would love to be, I'm a manager now in Christian music, and my main thing, I've got other people to do day to day, but my main thing is maintaining perspective. How do we have a Jesus perspective when the world is saying go the other way?
Yes.
But I think it'd probably be in radio. And I work with a lot of radio people now, and I hold them in very high regard because they're, a lot of times they're faceless, but they're in there just sharing this wonderful message, and I just appreciate what they do very much.
Nice. I think we could start a radio show. It could be called David and the Blokes. It's just a thought. I'll throw it out there. You just figure we'll let the Lord deal with that. But anyways, you can. Okay, number 4. What is your go-to fruit if you had to pick one?
A banana.
Okay.
I have, I just had one last night. We've been doing the fasting thing, so last week we fasted all week. That was tough for these old people. We just had fluids. This
Yeah.
week we're fasting the day and having a meal at night. And blow me down. What did I have last night? After a meal, I was still a bit hungry. I had a banana.
Nice. It's a nice little. It's amazing how sweet they are when you fast. You're like, this is the most incredible thing in the world.
The sugar in there just
I
hit
love it,
different. I love it.
Okay, last question. What do you want to be remembered for by those closest to you?
Probably that I was a flawed Jesus follower. None of us get it right all the time, but boy, oh boy. The crazy thing that I can tell you guys is I've had a wonderful life. Now, my only regret is that I didn't embrace Jesus till midlife. They say life begins at 40. What happened to me at 40? I lost everything on an Amy Grant tour in Australia. And also, I started the Hillsong record label 39 years ago. And on the morning of my 40th birthday, the Hillsong people call me and say, hey, we don't want you anymore. We're taking the record label back in-house. And they say life begins at 40. It did for me. And so I am marginally verbose, as you both know. Probably haven't, I remember, this is crazy. Helen and I were over doing, when the movie came out a year and a half ago, we were over in California, I think, doing a church service, and they had 2 church services. And the guy had 5 questions. And so he was asking Helen and I. And on the second question, I answered by saying, yes, and then, I've got one more thing. And then I've got one more thing. And then I've got one more thing. And my beloved comes to me and said, David, in between the now and the second, how dare you do that? He didn't have a chance to ask his 5 questions. You better be better behaved on the second term. Guys, I am learning. I am growing. I listened to my current girlfriend.
Yes.
During intermission and the second service, I was very well behaved. When the Holy Spirit implanted on me something to say, I didn't say anything. I just answered the question.
I love it.
I'm growing in the Lord, guys.
Yes, well, as we both are.
Yes,
all of us.
Again, when you marry out of your league, you just listen to the woman.
Oh, yes. I can't believe she wants to hang with me.
I know. I wake up every day. I'm like, you're still here.
Guys.
Oh, David, this has been awesome.
Fantastic.
We'd love to have you on again. But man, we are so grateful to have you on today. Thank you again so much for being on. They don't need many introductions, but we will put some links for King and Country and Rebecca St. James. If you've heard of them,
Yeah.
We'll see if you guys might have, but if not, we are super excited to have you on today and your wisdom.
Thank you, Sarah, for putting it all together. You know, like you're very very thorough in how you do it. So your beloved has trained you well.
She has. It's 23 years and I'm still learning. That's all I know. But
Fantastic.
David, it's been a blessing. Guys, thank you so much for watching today.
Yep.
Checking us out. Make sure you share it, like it share it with a friend, like it. And if this has been beneficial to you, connect with us, info@knownlegacy.org. Travis, final thoughts.
Sign up for the men's retreat. This is what we're talking about, helping men wake up, gear up, and come alive. And David is a guy who has done that, and God has done that in his life over and over again. Tons of wisdom. I hope you listen to this episode a few times.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, there are nuggets that are worth mining, contemplating, and reflecting on for sure. God bless you guys. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to the Known Legacy Podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so email us your questions or comments to info@knownlegacy.org.